It's really there's no longer any of a friend, but fellow man. This could only mean the
Say, listen, everybody knows that we don't generally say about religion, but we know this is a story that can be told. Because this is here for everybody that is young or old, shame on the world.
With anger, Mount John is
Girls, if you got a good man, you better keep him. know you're saying right now, what does she know? Who was she to tell me about my situation? Well, I don't know your situation, but whatever it is, you should try to stay together. You know that big argument that you had the other night, remember? Well, today it's not enough. Just don't let them leave you in it. Because then you'll find out that it wasn't those real big things you loved about her. It was the real small things. Go on and laugh, but it's true. You know, things that you've seen 1,000 times around the house but never paid any attention to? Like helping with the groceries, helping around, painting and repairing and paying the bills. But you know now, all I have is memories and regrets. I could have given her another chance to grow, but no. I had the challenge of being hurt. Let me tell you something. My female liberation stuff. I don't know, sometimes I don't think it's worth it. And I'm really feeling kind of bad, y'all. Catching hell, living here alone. I never realized, oh Lord, that you mean so much to me. I'm catching hell, living here alone. I want you to come back, baby, come back, back. Here's where you belong. Oh yeah. If I could replay, I could replay, back at home, sleeping. Oh, well, you know that I would never say to him that I love his attitude, Lord. Leave it alone.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just. I greet all of you once again who are hungry and thirsty for the true understanding of the Word of God. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Assalamu alaikum. I want to first give those who have questions or arguments for anything that they've heard us teach. I want to afford you that opportunity now to have a conversation with us about it. You know, just because you see that I do things differently, before you get offended and before you start trying to condemn it, don't you think you need to look in the scriptures and see if there's something in the scripture that condemns it? It should not be any surprise to you that I like music. You know, that's David sure knew it. In the 100th chapter of Psalms, David said, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord." And he didn't say just the land that he was in. He said all lands, all you lands. You see, every continent. Said, "Come before his presence with singing." Do that sound like the Lord don't like music? If I didn't like music, you would have to ask me, well, look, it say here, make a joyful noise and come before the Lord with singing. Well, you don't like music. David messed up, didn't he? And I'll tell you something else. You notice the last few songs that I played was exclusively the women singing. Now, what if we was living in a society that suppressed or oppressed women? All that talent would have been there unnoticed, uncultivated, unmanifest. You know, each human being is like when you receive a new child, a new baby, that's like receiving, you remember at Christmas time you receive presents? And you didn't get your present on Christmas Day, you got to open it on Christmas Day. But you was sitting up there when all them presents wrapped up and Christmas couldn't come fast enough because you wanted to see what was inside of them things. Why don't you want to see what's inside of the gifts that God give us? We know that God He makes temples that are not built with hands. Then we know these bodies that we have wasn't built by somebody's hands. And you know what you do? You're like a person who, God don't, everything God made is good for what he made it for. Remember, the serpent, let me read it to you, because you gets confused. Now look at this now. This is the last verse.
The conference has been locked.
This is the last verse of the first chapter of Genesis. And God saw everything that he had made. And behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. You know, Allah hates wasteful people. He hates waste. I'm about to prove to you that everything God made was very good. You know that garbage and stuff that you throw away? God made a creature that loved to eat that. So nothing goes to waste. The swine, he is unclean to you. But he helps keep things clean if you just give all your garbage to him. Even the devil, he asked, well, let me go into the swine. You remember that? Okay. So everything God made was good for what he made it for. The pharmaceutical companies, they make morphine, and it is good for what they made it for. But it must be kept under control. Do you understand? Lest people abuse it and it becomes evil. We say, I seek refuge. In the Holy Quran, it says in the 113th chapter, the dawn. I think that's the title of that chapter. Let me see here. When you get in your 70s, you might not remember so well. So you have to you have to double check stuff. But I think that's the chapter entitled The Dawn here. And it says, in the name of Allah, in the word of God, the beneficent, the most merciful. I don't care whose words you read, you will never find any words as filled with beneficence and mercy as you find in the Word of God. Matter of fact, it's just full of beneficence and mercy. Benefit and mercy. But it says, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn, in the Lord of enlightenment. What happens at dawn? Things starts to lighten up, don't it? Well, the Lord of the dawn is the Lord of enlightenment. And it says, from the evil that is hidden in that which he has created. There ain't nothing that exists that truth didn't bring into existence, and it wasn't just brought into existence, but it was a reason that it was brought into existence. Do you understand? But there is an evil that comes with it, like evil that came with us. I didn't hear you. You think we ain't got some evil in us? People, you know what people call their evil? They say, man, I got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. What do you mean you got up on the wrong side of the bed? Huh? Where does everybody have a bed at? Huh? Well, everybody ain't got no home. So you can't say they're in their homes. Well, what about the people who don't have a home? But where does everybody have a bed at? Huh? Come on, you know, I'm asking you this. It ain't no trick question. You know it. You just never thought about it. The earth. Everybody got a bed on the earth. Even if it's a flower bed or a dirt bed, they got a bed. And the bed that the earth provides got a dark side and a light side. And sometimes we get up on the dark side. And our deeds become dark. You understand? So the best so you see, the earth has everything that's made on it is good. But you have to learn what it's good for. And only draw out of it and use it for what it was made for, good for. But when you don't have an enlightened mind, you may try to use something that was made for one purpose for a purpose for which it was not made, and then you don't get the good from it. There's evil in it because you left the truth or the path that it was made for those who know the path and the way to use it. It's good, but to you it becomes evil. And the only way you can stop yourself from falling victim to the evil of that which is created is to seek refuge in the Lord of enlightenment, in the mind of enlightenment. Do you understand? So you notice, if God say everything he made was good, and not just good, he said it's very good. Huh? Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field that the Lord God had made. Well, we keep thinking, we had been thinking that the devil was God's enemy. The devil ain't never been God's enemy. The devil is man's enemy. Do you understand? Now most of us, we've been walking around. You know what they say when you get hooked on heroin? Something like that. People used to get hooked on heroin or morphine or whatever, and you go buying it on the black market, on the dark side market, and they say, man, he got a monkey on his back. Well, he got a monkey on his back. You notice most people that ever most people that get hooked on drugs, they generally, it wasn't necessarily their own idea. They saw other people doing it in the circle that they was running in. Somebody else introduced them to it. Monkey see. What? You know, that's monkeys. That's how you can teach them. They mimic you. You see, people who follow crowds got somewhat of a monkey on their backbone. You know, your brain is sitting on your backbone, on your spinal cord. It's sitting up at the top of your spinal cord. You see, your brain stem, It's hooked into your spinal cord where your central nervous system is located. Do you understand? And so we interpret things that the eyes send, signals that the eyes send to the brain. The brain is the throne that the mind is created in. And the mind interprets what the brain sends to it. And sometimes we got a monkey sitting up there and interpreting things, telling us to do something that is not good for us. The devil is the enemy to man. You see, beware of the monkey. If you saw Circle of Iron, if you went and looked at it like I told you, and you understand now that it's a deeper message in there. You know, monkey see, monkey do. And poor little monkeys, you know, they got 3 monkeys. They don't see no evil, they don't hear no evil, and they don't speak no evil. Well, how you going to avoid evil if you can't see it, hear it, or hear it spoken? That's what happened to them people that went up there on January the 6th. They didn't see no evil, they didn't hear no evil, and no matter what they heard at that speech that Donald Trump and them made, they didn't speak no evil. Them people who were standing up there speaking and encouraging people to try to destroy the government of the United States, they didn't see no evil, didn't hear none, and as far as they was concerned, they didn't speak none. Do you understand? Yet, sane people that had a human being up here controlling things, we all saw the evil. We heard it, we saw it, and we know who was speaking it. Do you understand? It wasn't no accident that they showed 3 monkeys sitting there, hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. So, it's time now that you wake up. It's time that you stop projecting your evil onto your father. The black man is the father of all human beings. You got no business putting pictures up like you did President Obama. A black man, you put a picture of him up there looking like a monkey. We ain't never been in no caves and swinging around on trees like you. The dog ain't never been our best friend. Now you better get it straight, because I could really shame you. And I'm getting tired of you projecting your evil onto us. So now, there's as I showed you there, you know, everything God made is good, very good. But you must seek refuge in the Maker, the Lord of enlightenment, the mind of enlightenment, from the evil that's in that thing. Lest you take it for something that it wasn't meant for. God made the devil to test you. After he let the devil have dominion, he sent prophets, calling you to the right way, telling you don't do that. The devil teach you to go and make war and kill each other. God said, thou shalt not kill. And the devil tells you in the military, he says, well, if you don't want to go kill nobody, well, you can be a conscientious objector status. We'll give you conscientious objector status and there's no blame on you. Conscientious objector. I mean, you got a consciousness that killing people is wrong. Do you understand? And the devil couldn't make you forget that killing people is wrong, so he said, well, I ain't got no authority over you. Do you understand? What? Am I telling other than the truth? Now, understand something. That does not make you weak. For Allah also said, fight with those that fight with you, and Allah loves not the aggressor. Huh? Well, now if somebody attack you, well, that's different. You try to see to it that they don't put their hands on nobody else. But never be the aggressor. And when they cease fighting with you, he didn't say if they cease. He said when they cease fighting with you. Why? Because you'd be surprised. I saw people start fights before with the wrong one. You know, the first time it got really blatant was when I was in high school, and we was all standing around watching two people fight. And so this real quiet brother, and he was just standing up there with his books, you know, looking. And so one of the brothers who kind of, you know, was known to like to fight, he looked over there at him and said, what you looking at? See, he wanted to start something. He said, I tell you what, let's me and you fight. And man, when that brother put his books down and started bobbing and weaving on him, next thing you know, he had busted his nose and his nose was bleeding and everything. And the brother that started it, the one nose bleeding and everything, he backed off, and the other brother quit. He quit fighting him. I always remember that. When they cease fighting with you, cease fighting with them. When they realize that they picked on the wrong one, they'll stop. You understand? You see? So, I'm going to tell you something. I am proud of the way that the other nations over in the Europe and the United States came to the aid of a nation that was attempting that Russia, under the dictatorship of Putin, tried to bully and was the aggressor against. I think he's realizing now that he bit off a little more than he can chew. Those people in Ukraine, there's no way you could make them wrong for defending their country, for defending their right to choose independence over servitude, and to try to force them back into a USSR that they don't want to be part of no more is wrong. You notice the United States is not a country that was established by conquering. Not really. This Texas wasn't conquered. California wasn't conquered. None of them. They had sense enough to form themselves into a union that made them strong. You understand? You see? And so this is a whole different thing here. For you to try to say you want to secede from that which was an agreement of unity is to try to destroy the unity of that which came into existence by agreement on unity. Do you understand? Anyone who is against that unity is against the Constitution. What did they say to the Constitution? The Constitution is established to promote a more perfect union, a more complete unity. So, all these people who got their own agenda, talking about the federal government is their enemy and all of that kind of thing, a bunch of traitors, treasonous people. I don't care how you try to fix it. So, anyway, you know, if I didn't know what I was talking about, I would think somebody'd be glad. You know, people, when they don't like you, you understand? All they waiting on is a aha moment. Ain't that right? Come on in here with your aha moment and show me I'm saying something that's wrong. I mean, the preamble to the Constitution starts out, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. You tried to tear the Union apart once, and the Union Army stopped you. So now you try to destroy it from within now. Using not intelligent white people, but the dumbest of white people. Them is the ones you use to try to tear it up. Just like the dumbest of Negroes, which happen to be mostly the most educated ones in our sense, like Clarence Thomas and people like him, they don't want to see us united and up out from under the oppression of people who hate us. So they fight us the hardest. That's who fought the Honorable Elijah Muhammad the hardest. Those haters of themselves, so filled with the education of white people that they forgot that they are black. Even Martin Luther King, he woke up late, but he woke up. He even started saying he was black and proud. Huh? Yeah, just in case. I keeps a little
I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody.
Where did he get that from? The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the one teaching us to believe in ourselves and believe that we are something more than what this white man taught us. He had started communicating with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He had met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad at least twice. And he agreed with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He said there's some of them is better than others, talking about white people. He said, but they're all from the same stock. How you know that? You couldn't have held us in slavery for 400 years if you wasn't all in somewhat agreement on it. You're still mistreating us today. Look at what you letting go on in Texas and Arizona and Michigan and all of these places around this country. You letting these people do these evil things to tax us and don't let us vote. You doing that. As Martin Luther King told you, he said, evil people succeed because so-called good people do nothing. You think you can just do like Pilate? I ain't going to take part in that. You got to do more than that. You got to put a stop to it. Your people doing it. Put a stop to it.
I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennedonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with the pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation.
Where did he get that from? The messenger was teaching us, unite with your own kind, stop begging white people, and unite with your own kind and do for yourself. Give yourself. You're over there begging them. Give me, let me come in your lunch diner and let me ride on your bus. No. Build your own lunch counter. Build your own buses. You building them for him? The Japanese building their own. The Chinese building their own. Every people is building and doing for themselves, and here we sitting up here begging. Lazarus. Almost sound like lazy us, huh? Well, we got to change that. Nobody respects a beggar. You know that's the truth. You don't mind giving people a little hand from time to time, but if you see the same fella standing out in front of the market every time you come out of there begging for something, what you say? Man, you need to go somewhere and get you a job, man. You healthy enough to stand out here and beg, but you ain't healthy enough to go get a job? One thing about minimum wage jobs, they're pretty plentiful. I didn't hear you. You clean yourself up a little bit and go to any restaurant, and just about and tell them you would like to be a waiter, they'll find something for you to do. Because they're always losing people. That's how people meet people that give them better jobs. You know, people like the way you serve them. Most people, when they come to a nice restaurant or something, they are pretty well off. They're business people and stuff come in there. You serve them right, they get to know you and say, why are you working in here? What else do you know how to do? Well, I've been here. Look at the movie stars that started off waiting tables. Huh? There's plenty things you can do. That's gainful employment. Most people don't know what gainful employment means. Look, if you're going up a staircase, if you on the bottom floor and trying to get up to the second floor, you can't start at the fifth stair. You got to start on that first stair. You get on that first step. It gives you the ability to get to the second and to the third and to the fifth. You just go step by step. You understand? A man who ain't doing nothing don't need no help. Nothing beats a failure but another try. You haven't failed if you're still trying. Do you understand? The only time you failed was when you stopped trying. And they say, well, he failed. But if he's still trying, well, he ain't failed yet. So, listen to Dr. King here.
Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of...
You know why he was talking like that? It's because they had started threatening him, calling him. Now, the FBI, y'all know, J. Edgar Hoover and them, was when they saw he was talking with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And they tried to frighten him, as the messenger said. He said, Dr. Martin Luther King, he said, now there was a man that was frightened to death by white people. Yes. You know, that's the one thing you learn. They make sure you learn when you go to school under them. You learn to be scared of them. So, when you come into Islam, into the new Islam, you learn to be scared of Allah, not scared of other people. No, you see, because the one you scared of, he's scared of Allah. do you understand? I tell you what, any fool can prove that. You notice, they used to be talking about the Holy Quran ain't this and the Holy Quran ain't that. When the last time you heard somebody come in here and insult the Holy Quran to me? Or any Holy Scripture to me? It ain't because they don't want to. They know I'll throw them in hell. Allah ordained me. It ain't hard to find out who Allah ordained. Who talks in the world have to shut up? That's who Allah ordained. Now, who talks and I got to shut up? You see? But listen.
Our heritage, as somebody said earlier tonight, we We don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black.
See, now, he ain't going to say he heard when Malcolm was saying that, and Malcolm got it from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But you know where that teaching came from. I didn't hear you. Okay, just listen.
It's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
Yeah. And the night that he gave that, on April 3rd, the night that he gave that mountaintop speech, he was murdered the next day, on April 4th. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he, just a moment. See, I like to tell the truth. I'm not a person who don't tell you the truth. I tell you the truth. Let's see here.
You must know the truth. That can be your judgment until you know the truth.
It's okay.
And if this man in the Bible rises up in Revelation with the key of both death and hell, having the knowledge of the devil who kills people with technology of his teachings, prepare them for the doom that God made him for. The white race was not even made to be saved. I know you won't agree with me, but stick around. One of the professors from Chicago.
Now, I know I've taught you on this, but you ain't got your memory about long as John was in the army. So, when Yaqub made white people, he didn't make them to be saved. He made them to go wrong and to lead others wrong, to create the need for a right guide. Do you understand? And that's why we say on him is a curse. Do you understand? But that curse, after he did what he was made for, we didn't intend to destroy him. We intended to take that curse off of him. That's why it's written, on you is a curse until the day of judgment. His maker told him, he said, 6 days shall you labor and do your evil. Do all your work. He didn't say do all my work. He said do all your work. What was his work? He said, my Lord, as you have judged me to be erring, I shall certainly make evil fast seeming to them on earth, and I shall cause them all to deviate, except your servants from among them, the purified ones. And his maker told him, that's a right way with me for you. He says, As regards to my servants, you have no authority over them except such of those deviators who follow you. And I will certainly fill hell with them all. Then he told him, he said, 6 days shall you labor and do all of that. But remember the Sabbath day. Remember what the fairy godmother told Cinderella? Remember, 12 o'clock, you be out of there now. Because if you ain't out of there, everything going back to what it was. Right? Time got away from it, didn't it? Okay. Well, likewise, Yaqub told them that the Sabbath day, don't do that work of yours in the Sabbath day. And when the Lord comes, don't you tempt him. Because he can throw you in hell. As Jesus said, when they asked him about who to fear, and Jesus said, fear not them that can kill the body, and after that ain't got no more they can do. I tell you who to fear. Fear him that after ye have killed, have power to cast into hell. Yeah, I say fear him. Do you understand? Well, who is him? Sanctify the Lord of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread. So now, you ain't going to be able to say that I didn't make it clear to you and make it plain to you. If I hadn't made the truth plain, you could have had excuse to believe or disbelieve that I am the Son. But since I'm making the truth so plain to everybody, it's kind of hard when you walk outside and see all of the trees and all of the colors and all of the things. It's insane for you to say that the sun ain't up. What other teacher do you have that gets up in front of you and makes you see the things that I make you see? Name them. Yeah. See? Nobody say nothing. But you hate me. The only reason you could have for hating me is because you love evil. Because I haven't invited you to do nothing evil. You love evil and you hate good. Because that's all I've been trying to get you to do. It's good. So the devil, he was told how long to do his work. 6 days. A day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. And 1,000 years is as 1 day. When you look at 1,000 years, and if that's as 1 day, then you're looking at about 41.666667 years in an hour. So you multiply that times 24 and you get 1,000. So the point is, you see, an hour, you know, the scripture talks about that hour. But anyway, so we are here now, working with you and making clear to you. It's just like what the messenger is about to tell you about Dr. King. As Dr. King was visiting the messenger and the FBI, they set up out there. You can't say the CIA. The CIA is the ones who do outside of the country. The FBI are the security investigative force inside of the country. And they was watching us. J. Edgar Hoover had them watching us. Because he was trying to stop a black messiah from rising, because in the first place they had the wrong idea of what we was about anyway. They getting ready for some physical war. We weren't getting ready for no physical war. We getting ready for mental war. We are mentally about to take over. The beast, the lion and the tigers and bears, they are brutes, and they overpower and take by force, and rule for a little while until a younger one rise up and overthrow them. You know, it's like the mafia. You know, you notice you remember, did you watch The Godfather? When this gangster in Italy, he killed Vito Corleone's father, and they weren't looking for him, looking for his son. That's why he changed his name to Corleone, because that wasn't his name at first. But see, when they kill you, they kill your sons and make sure that that's done. That's what lions do. You know, when lions overpower the ruler or the head lion, then they find all his cubs and they kill them. So I'm trying to show you. You know, I live in a world that was put here for me to learn something from, not get hung up on it. You know, I mean, this is school for me. You know, I didn't try to live at school. I went to school temporarily to get knowledge that I needed to get. Well, Allah sent me in this world to get knowledge that I needed to get in order to be able to save some of the people out of this world. You know, it's hard to get a person to take you seriously that has been taught quite a bit. When you're trying to teach people that's already been taught something, that's a much harder job than teaching people who don't know nothing. That's why Allah spoke to the messenger, and the messenger spoke the words to me. He said, "Brother, you have the hardest job of any man that ever lived." And that's the truth. You got a very hard job trying to teach people and hold their attention that think they already know something. You understand? So I borrowed some of what I noticed from the teachers of this world, that when you go from the one grade level to the next, especially when you get in higher grade levels, the new teacher for the next grade level, they start telling you what you learned in the level before them. That's their way of gaining your trust and your attention, to let you know that I know what you know and I know what you don't know, and you need to listen to me. Do you understand? And so that's why I do a little history. It's just like the messenger said that he had to take us through the history of the God. He said, to get him to you. You see? He had to teach me the knowledge of who I am and my history in order for me to trust him, to study what he was teaching and learn from looking in the scriptures that everything that he was teaching me was the truth. You understand? You see? And so I want you to listen. Listen to him talk about Dr. King.
One of the professors from Chicago University sitting in my house, one day he wanted to know whether or not they suffered them good. Well, I told him like I had told many others. I said, there's lots of snakes. Some of these snakes is not as poison as the other, but these are snakes just the same. This is the thing that Reverend Martin Luther King agreed with me on. He said, I'll grant you that. They may not be as evil as the other one, but they're all from the same stock. There was a man that was frightened to death by white people because they had tried to buy him over.
See, and that's what Martin Luther King was telling them. He said, don't let nobody take your manhood from you. You understand? See, fear can take your manhood away from you. When people find out they can frighten you into inaction, when they can frighten you into silence, well, then they know that they have a means of extracting your manhood from you. You understand? That's why the messenger said, Allah never choose a coward to represent him. He said, you must fear less. You must be fearless. And meaning you must fear everybody less than you fear God. Do you understand? And so the messenger said, there was a man, Martin Luther King, he was frightened to death by white people. And
He was not so big a fool as they thought. After he met with me, that they learned that Reverend Martin Luther King and I was making up a friendship together. I went down to our place where that we was going to meet and have what we call a convention. And when I got down to this place, I represented Martin Luther King, that he was a great man, that he and I was getting along fine. He agreed with me, I agree with him. Two agree with me. Not in his way. But Martin Luther King, he woke up right away. And the devil stood out there in front of my house with mechanical instruments on, listened to what we were saying. Then from that meeting on, they had made up their mind to kill Martin Luther King. They thought they had prepared him thoroughly to help them lead you to hell with them.
remember what hell is now. Misunderstanding is hell. And they thought that they had prepared him thoroughly to lead you into misunderstanding and into Christianity, a false religion, their false religious doctrine that absolutely castrates you as a man. Do you understand? And so that day is gone. This is what Islam have did for the black man in America, whether he accepted it all or not. You notice black men hardly, they don't want to go to church now, because You can't tell a black man that he's got to sit back and let people just run over him and he can't defend himself. That's wrong. It's wrong to tell any man. What creature do you know of that if you corner him won't try to fight his way, at least to get away from you? He'll try to fight out of there. The most cowardly dog, if you corner him up, he will become a vicious, growling and trying to get bark and bite you, just to get you out the way so he can run. Do you understand? So we have to rethink our position on everything. I'm not telling you to go and let him provoke you into picking up a gun so he can pull a dirty Harry on you. You just made his day when you pick up a gun. He as good as show the world. You remember the Panthers? When they was unarmed and serving breakfast to children? He didn't like that. He don't want you loving each other and treating each other with respect and looking out for your people. So he sends people to join you to convince you to do something else. When they had on their black tams and black clothes and was unarmed, you couldn't make nothing hateful out of them there. But when they started putting them ammunition belts across them and standing up there with guns, and, old silly Huey Newton was up there talking about a lawyer, and they got a right to bear arms and all of this kind of stuff. And the man that's not what Allah let us wind up in slavery for, so we could become carbon copies of white people. He put us over here under them so that he could develop a greater and stronger mind in us to think our way out from under them. People only fight when reason fails. Do you understand? But when you are able to think your way out from under trouble, now we can have peace on earth. Can't have no peace on earth as long as you got an ignorant mind floating around inside of human beings. But when people learn to value truth, value knowledge of understanding, when knowledge rules, when wisdom is prevalent in the human family, there will be peace on earth. Because you never have to be disagreeable to agree on what is right. Unless you're not interested in right. Do you understand? But people who are interested in what is right, and what is right is always right for everybody. Freedom is right for everyone. But there can be no freedom to a person with an ignorant mind, because their flesh is under the subjection of like a car that is being driven, a race car that is being driven by a driver, or a tractor trailer being driven by someone that does not have a CDL. you know he's headed for a wreck. I didn't tell you. Likewise, a human body with a mind that is only natural is going to wreck that body. That's why you got all these wars and stuff going on. It's because you can't reason with the person who is unable to reason, who is unreasonable. Do you understand? And when Moses was traveling in search of knowledge, he met one of our servants who had divine knowledge that Moses didn't have. And Moses asked him, can I walk with you? And he told Moses, he said, no, you can't follow me because you will not have patience with me in that which you don't have a comprehensive knowledge. You won't be able to be patient with me when you see things being done by me that you don't understand. Because you don't know what I know. And so this is the way we were with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He telling us the white man is the devil. All we could hear was hate. We said, that's hate teaching. That's hate teaching. When all he was doing was teaching us the truth. He was doing what the scripture said would be done. The man of sin would be revealed. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad revealed the man of sin. Oh, it's plain to you now because I'm here. If I wasn't here, you'd still be calling it hate teaching. But the more you hear me, the more enlightened your mind, and the more you realize that everything God made had a purpose, including the devil. Do you understand? Even the devil glad I'm here now. Because he learning things that he didn't know this. He didn't know what I know. You see? We had a saying in this world, it's a dirty job, but somebody had to do it. So he was made for that. And he was good at it. He show you how good he is at deceiving you every time you sit down looking at a movie and start crying. Them people ain't doing nothing but acting. But you and me sit there crying because they done drawed us into the lie, into the story. Do you understand? So he's very good at what he was made for. The arch deceiver. I hear you. Okay. So you heard the messenger telling you about Dr. King. He said Dr. King, he was frightened to death by white people. You know. And but that's why that mountaintop speech meant so much. He said, I'm not fearing any man tonight. You remember that? And the next day he was dead. But just a minute. Let me show you. The messenger,
But you see what happened to the poor man. If his disciples does not follow him, he kills them. But here is one disciple that is not his. Long before I was born, God warned him to touch not mine anointing.
And that was the truth. And it's still the truth. I remember when I was out west, and this fellow from police from 77 put his hands on me and arrested me. And he was in the house that, when I got married, my wife already had 2 houses. And, she wasn't no dummy. And one of the houses she rented out to her sister. And so it was her sister's husband was doing some things he had no business doing. And so they came there and was searching their house, and then they went to the garage where we had our stuff. And I told them, I said, that's not theirs. But we had one of them Mickey Mouse locks on there that they had a key that would open it on the ring that her husband had. And so they said, well, this key opens it when I'm going in. I said, no, you can't go in there. And then he grabbed me and put me on the ground. And he took his hand after he had me down on it, and he didn't, it wasn't hard, but then he cuffed me, and we were sitting down and took me inside their house, inside of that rental house. And while I was sitting down, him and his partner was in the house, and he was in there running cold water on his hand. And I thought about what happened to him. And he never should have put his hands on me. And when we got down to 77, didn't know, now one of them put their hands on me from that point on. And, I realized how much I had been in the protection of Allah then, and I thought about some of the other things that I had experienced. And Allah been protecting me all my life. I just didn't know it. And so I'm careful now how I don't go around trying to provoke people into doing something that's, it's like my little niece told me that time when I was going back and forth with my mother about religion. We was talking, and I was new in Islam, and I thought everybody should be listening to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I was trying to show my mother that the white man is the devil and want to show her in the Bible and all that, and I wasn't really paying attention to how it was affecting her, what I was saying. And my niece looked at me and said, "What are you trying to do? Get her in trouble?" And I know ain't no 3-year-old got no business talking like that. And so I said, oh. So I heard Allah speaking to me through her. And, because I love my mother, and so I left that alone. I stopped arguing with her. Because you get yourself in trouble. Everybody gets in trouble that call themselves giving me a hard time. That's why the judge came out there and asked me was I still mad at him. And I just chuckled and told him no. And he asked could he take a picture with me. So him and his wife came up and took a picture with me. And I'm not a person who just carry ill will toward people. I couldn't be who I am if I was like that. Anybody that hates you ain't got no business being no judge over you. Do you understand? See, white people You ain't never had no business even trying to judge us. You couldn't be just because you enslaved us. You hated us. You should have recused yourself. You see, I wouldn't do you like that. I've never condoned knowingly unjust actions. Even before I accepted Islam, I wouldn't help you. I helped one time roll this brother while he was drunk, and let this brother named Richard talk us in there. It was me, Richard, and a few others. We rolled him and took his money. And my cut was $12. I never forgot that. I felt so bad after I did that. Went and gave all the money away because it bothered me so much. I was mad at myself for letting them talk me into doing something like that. And but anyway, that don't work for me. A gang of people jumping on one man. So, but anyway, I was glad he was drunk and didn't remember us. He stayed right up the street from us, and poor thing. But anyway, that was a good learning experience for me. What is the point? Why would you do something that your conscience dictates against? You ain't gonna be happy going against your own conscience. No. So treat people like you want to be treated. So I remember that way back when I was still in school. It's funny how you will never forget the evil you done to people. At least I don't. So I can remember stuff I did that was wrong. And that's what helps me to be merciful to people. Because I haven't been right all my life. There ain't no sense in me lying. And so, I needed mercy. So if you want to be shown some mercy, you better show mercy. Do you understand? So Dr. King, he gave these, let me see here.
Thank you very kindly, my friend. For you tonight. Not if I stop to help the sanitation workers, what will happen to my job?
The reason I'm not playing the whole thing is because we gonna turn you loose at the right time. But you'll hear him talk about helping people. And he was there in Memphis on the 3rd of, let me see, what day was that? April 3rd.
Jesus used this as the setting for his parable. It's a winding, meandering road. It's really conducive for ambushing. You start out in Jerusalem, which is about 1,200 miles, or rather 1,200 feet above sea level. And by the time you get down to Jericho, 15 or 20 minutes later, you're about 2,200 feet below sea level. That's a dangerous road. In the days of Jesus, it came to be known as the bloody path. It's possible that the priest and the Levite looked over that man on the ground and wondered.
Understand something. That parable of the priest and the Levite is actually referring to the Christian and the Jew. And you Christians and you Jews, you who say you were Christians, you condoned the evil that was done to me and my people. You who say you are Jews, you ain't never condemned this country for what they did to us. The slavery that you saw being done to us and the mishandling of us by the world. You saw our condition. I remember growing up in Watts, and a lot of Jewish merchants had their stores right there in the black community, getting rich out of the black community. And you didn't put nothing back in there like you do your communities and fix up nice things. It was always just run down. Do you understand? So, you know, if you want to keep people in poverty, I've learned from watching what was done to us that this is how they did that. They surrounded us with ugly stuff, ugly storefronts, unkept sidewalks and things. And that became normal for us. That was normal for us. And so we didn't feel that we needed nothing better because that's all we knew all our lives. You know, you put a fish in a small tank, a goldfish in a small tank, he will stay small. All his life, he will live there and die there and still be that little bitty fish. You put him in a bigger tank, he will get bigger. Do you understand? And that's the way our minds are. They kept us ignorant, kept us satisfied with poverty. We even had parties in poverty. I remember people used to give parties to help pay their rent and that kind of stuff. 25 cents to get in, you know. But, you know, that is, you know, we got used to poverty. And the most poverty that we had, it was in our brain, our mind. The mind has to be poverty-stricken before it will leave the body that way. My people perish for the lack of knowledge. Ignorance is where poverty finds its roots.
Fathers were still around. It's possible that they felt that the man on the ground was merely faking. And he was acting like he had been robbed and hurt in order to seize him over there, love him there for quick and easy seizure.
You see how he's making a little fancy there to the story? That ain't in the Bible, that what he's saying there. He's making excuses on what these people may have their reason for walking by the man that had been on the road to Jericho and beat up and robbed. And so now he's saying how a lot of people think when it comes to helping other people, they are afraid to help them because maybe they faking them. Maybe they going to do something to me. So, you know, I thought it was a pretty good story. But, you know, I can't get up and say that this is what was happening with the road to Jericho, because that wasn't Jesus' point. Do you understand?
And so the first question that...
Because if truly religious people, if you have the true religion of God, you will not see people in need and not help them. You understand? At least offer help. Just like me, you don't see me ignoring the people around me. I'm on the air right now here in Fayette. And any of them that want to join with me, I welcome them. And we'll share what we have with them. But most of us, we have the attitude that as we hear people, many people have this attitude. What's mine is mine and what's yours is mine. They don't say what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine and we will share. You got people that will have you spending your money on them for something that they need while they've got money in their pocket to do it for themselves, but they'll spend yours if you let them. Do you understand? I have never been that way. If I had money in my pocket, I didn't ask my friends to spend their money on me. They say, hey, Marv, I got this. Man, I got it. I got this. You know, I appreciate the offer, but I can pay for it. You know, do you understand? You don't take misadvantage of your friends. If I'm in need and you help me, that's one thing. But if I'm not in need, why should I take your resources? Some of you know I didn't never ask you for a damn penny until I started building stuff for you. I never asked you to give me something after I done taught and stand up teaching. Now all of a sudden I'm asking you to give me some money. I don't feel right begging for money. You notice I very seldom talk about money up here. Because I just don't feel right asking people to give me nothing. That's in the book. It says the sheep and the cattle on 1,000 hills are mine. And if I were hungry, I would not tell you. So, but if I'm building something for you as well as me, well, shouldn't you want to help? You don't appreciate anything that people just give you. If you really want to appreciate what you have, you need to help get it. Then you will understand its value. Do you understand? Help do this, and you will rejoice over what is done. But if you don't help do it, even if you try to fake like you rejoicing over it, you can't. Because you don't really know what went into doing it.
The first question that the Levite asked was, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? But then the Good Samaritan came by, and he reversed the question. If I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him? That's the question before you tonight. Not if I stop to help the sanitation workers, what will happen to my job? Not if I stop to help the sanitation workers, what will happen to all of the hours that I usually spend in my office every day and every week as a pastor? The question is not if I stop to help this man in need, what will happen to me? The question is, if I do not stop to help the sanitation workers, what will happen to them? That's the question. Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. And let us move on In these powerful days, these days of challenge, to make America what it ought to be, we have an opportunity to make America a better nation. And I want to thank God once more for allowing me to be here with you. You know, several years ago I was in New York City autographing the first book that I had written. While sitting there autographing books, the minute black woman came up, the only question I heard from her was, "You Martin Luther King?" And I was looking down writing and I said, "Yes." The next minute I felt something beating on my chest. Before I knew it, I had been stabbed by this demented woman. I was rushed to Harlem Hospital. It was a dark Saturday afternoon. That blade had gone through and the x-rays revealed that the tip of the blade was on the edge of my aorta, the main artery. And once that's punctured, you're drowned in your own blood. That's the end of you. It came out in the New York Times the next morning that if I had merely sneezed, I would have died. Well, about 4 days later, they allowed me, after the operation, after my chest had been opened and the blade had been taken out, to move around in the wheelchair in the hospital. They allowed me to read some of the mail that came in from all over the states and the world. Kind letters came in. I read a few, but one of them I will never forget. I had received one from the president and the vice president. I've forgotten what those telegrams said. I received a visit and a letter from the governor of New York, but I've forgotten what that letter said. But there was another letter that came from a little girl, a young girl, who was a student at the White Plains High School. And I looked at that letter and I'll never forget it. It said simply, "Dear Dr. King, I am a 9th grade student at the White Plains High School." She said, "While it should not matter, I would like to mention that I'm a white girl. I read in the paper of your misfortune and of your suffering. And I read that if you had sneezed, you would have died. I'm simply writing you to say that I'm so happy that you didn't sneeze. And I want to say tonight, that I too am happy that I didn't sneeze, because if I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1960. When students all over the South started sitting in at lunch hours. And I knew that as they were sitting in, they were really standing up for the best in the American dream, taking the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy, which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1961. We decided to take a ride for freedom and end segregation in interstate travel. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been around here in 1962. The Negroes in Albany, Georgia, decided to straighten their backs up. And whenever men and women straighten their backs up, they are going somewhere, because a man can't ride your back unless it is bent. If I had sneezed, I would have been here in 1963. Black people of Birmingham, Alabama, aroused the conscience of this nation and brought into being the Civil Rights Bill. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have had a chance later that that year in August to try to tell America about a dream that I had had. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been down in Selma, Alabama to see the great movement there. If I had sneezed, I wouldn't have been in Memphis to see a community rally around those brothers and sisters who are suffering. I'm so happy that it didn't sneeze. They were telling me. Now it doesn't matter now. It really doesn't matter what happens now. I left Atlanta this morning, and as we got started on the plane, there were 6 of us. The pilot said over the public address system, "We're sorry for the delay."
Now remember, they was threatening his life after he had been visiting back and forth with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You understand? Now he gonna tell you about him searching the plane and whatnot. And
have Dr. Martin Luther King on the plane, and to be sure that all of the bags were checked, and to be sure that nothing would be wrong on the plane. We had to check out everything carefully, and we had the plane protected and guarded all night. And then I got into Memphis, and some began to say the threats, or talk about the threats that were out, or what would happen to me from some of our sick white brothers. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
And the glory of the coming of the Lord is the light of understanding of the coming of the Lord, which was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He told you wasn't nobody coming behind him but me. He said, ain't nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. Think for a moment. Before I showed up, you didn't have the slightest clue that God was an acronym for grantor of dominion. I revealed that to you. No man knows who the Father is but the Son. So, unlike Dr. King, they calling him threatening him. You better not call me threatening me. You'll find yourself in hell from that point on. Now, if you think I'm joking, unmute your phone and tell me what you're going to do to me. And see if I don't have the authority to cast you into hell. You'll see if I'm bluffing. See if I'm just trying to sell some wolf tickets. So anyway, So Martin Luther King, the mountaintop was when he visited the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What do they call the top of a mountain? The what? The summit. When he went to see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he went to the summit. And what they call it when presidents meet with each other? A summit meeting? Yeah. There is no higher one than a messenger of God. When you meet with a messenger of God, you at the summit. And the only one that's next is God himself. Do you understand? Okay. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came and went. And he told you who to look for after him. So you can believe it or not. So I'm going to let you think over that and chew on that for a while. And if it pleases Allah, Wednesday, we will talk to you some more. But I was listening to that Martin Luther King's speech, the last one that he made the day before he was murdered. And when you, at least he didn't die afraid. As he said, he wasn't fearing any man. Huh? Yeah. That's a wonderful feeling, to not be afraid. Especially for somebody who had been so fearful all of their life. So, the scripture says, fear not, little flock. See, I have a little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. I don't sell tapes. I don't sell books. Whosoever will, let him come and drink of the water of life freely. The way you buy what I'm offering, you believe it. Buy without money. Yes. That's written. That's in Isaiah. Isaiah around the 55th chapter, I believe. I might be wrong. But I done been through these things so many times. It says, Ho, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters. And he that hath no money, come ye and buy and eat. Yeah, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Yeah. So, as you say, I will buy that. Well, if you buy what I'm saying, well, then that means if you believe what I'm saying, then you are a blessed person. If you don't believe what I'm saying, the curse will remain on you. So may Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds, and seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn from the evil of that which he has created. The worst thing can happen to you is to hear the truth and misunderstand. The best thing is to hear the truth and understand it. You can't act on it if you don't understand it. So I'm here giving you understanding. It's dawning on you now. You know, and if you keep up, even though parts of the earth is always in the light, parts of the earth is always in the dark, if you know how, you get in the right spot, it will always be dawning on you. So all praise is due to Allah. Yeah. That's what's happening on the earth all the time. It's always dawning. The sun is always dawning on people. The sun is always setting. Just depends on where you at. Yeah. So, may Allah bless us and keep us safe and in our right minds. Those of us who love Him and His Word, and are hungry and thirsty for His righteousness. And may He grant to each of us a peaceful and pleasant night's rest and sleep, and a happy, peaceful, and pleasant morning's rise. May Allah's Salaam Alaikum.
This session is no longer goodbye.
I see you did what I told you.